Ultra Rad Day, everyone. Tyler here with Ultra Rad Stuff. In today's video, we are going to show you some of the other booths and goodies that can be found at Family Treasures Antique Mall, where my booth is located, while I talk a little bit about my first month being a booth owner. I have some insights and some tips for anyone starting out, so let's get right into it. First off, not everything sells fast. Remember to pay attention to your outgoing cash flow. While items might be selling for a profit individually, if you are spending more than you are bringing in total, you'll be in the red. Now, starting out slow is okay. It's okay to be in the red in the first month because people are still learning about your booth and you're still learning about how to manage your booth. Just make sure that you're keeping track of your spending and your earning, that way that you don't get too far behind and start overspending. My first month, I spent too much and ended up a little bit in the red. Therefore, I needed to dial back my spending and get myself back into a space where I am profitable and pay attention a little bit more to those items that are selling for a profit and buy less of the items that are not selling at all. Next, you have processing. When you go out to buy items, they may come back dirty. They come back with stickers. They come back with all sorts of things that you need to correct in order to put them out. When you're picking up items, you need to make sure that you're considering how much processing time is going to take on a particular item. If it's a console like a PlayStation that is covered in stickers, that's a lot of stickers that you'll have to remove, or you'll have to sell the console as is. And not many people are probably going to want a console covered in someone else's stickers. Now, a lot of the items I get are covered in price stickers, and not all of them are easily removable. And you'll need items like Goo Gone, you'll need disinfectant wipes, you'll need paper towels, and a large work surface to get this all done. Now, also when you're checking out items, you need to make sure that if they're broken, if they're repairable. Is it something that you can do a repair on, or is that break a permanent break? Is that a break something that is not going to be fixable and therefore brings down the value of the item and might make it not worth you selling it in your booth? Next, you need to be visiting your booth often. Clean your booth, freshen your booth, add new items. Take items out that aren't selling and reprice items that may be not selling for the price that you have them set as. It's important for you to be an attentive booth owner because that way you know what's going on in your booth. On a regular basis, I will go by my booth and I will see that people have picked up an item and moved it around. They have turned it around, meaning they have looked at the price and decided the price was too high for them. And if that is done on multiple occasions, then that might mean that that price is too high. Multiple people have looked at it and are interested in it, but the price just isn't there for them. So make sure that you're doing those things on a regular basis. Sourcing isn't easy. It takes a lot of time and a lot of driving. You want to make sure that while you're also tracking your spending and your earning, you're also tracking your mileage. You want to make sure you track every single one of those miles come tax season, because that's going to be a really good way for you to get some of that money back from spending so much time out in the field. There are a lot of places to find stuff that you can sell in your booth. Places such as Goodwill, thrift stores, flea markets, marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, garage sales and estate sales, pawn shops, discount stores, and clearance aisles. Now, all of these comes with their own pros and cons. Some places are priced a little bit higher. Some places are starting to sell online and they are not selling as cheap a prices as they are anymore. With technology, people are getting more and more, they know what things are worth, and you're not able to source things for cheaper out there in the wild as often. So you need to make sure that you have yourself a good line on a source. That way you don't end up drying up in your booth. Double check your items. This goes along with when you're purchasing them, but when you have them in your possession, you want to look for rips, stains, holes, breaks, scratches, cracks, missing parts, etc. DVDs, CDs, games should always be opened and double checked to make sure that the item belongs with that case. This is a mistake that I had made several times by looking into the video game case and seeing the name of the video game on the disc, but not realizing that it was only disc 2 or only disc 1, or it was a special bonus DVD with just footage on it and no gameplay at all. So these are things that you want to make sure that you are double checking about your items. You want to open the box. You want to make sure all the pieces are there. If you're into doing board games, you want to make sure that all the board game pieces are there. If you want complete action figures, you want to make sure that all of the accessories are there. These are important things for you to know because the people coming to buy the thing from you want those things. They don't want just a loose action figure with some do. Some buy it that way, but most collectors are going to come looking for the full package. So you'll get the highest dollar, the best condition the item is in. So always be on the lookout for that. A good deal doesn't always mean that it will sell. I have purchased items for 50 cents that are sitting on my shelf thinking that I could sell it for $3. Nobody wants the item in the first place. So therefore, that 50 cents might have been a sunken cost. It might sit there in my booth for a long time before anyone comes along and purchases it. So a good deal does not always mean it will sell. I've talked about this before. You want to track all your purchases, and that means keeping your receipts. Have one of those file folder accordions and keep your receipts. I have one that keeps track of January, February, March, April, every month. That way I can put the receipts that I spent within a month in its own little folder and have those ready come tax time and fill those out on a sheet. I use Google Sheets because it's available for me anywhere. It's free and it's really easy to use. I use Google Sheets for all of my tracking and organization for my booth business. Sales, like I said, some items sell slow, some items sell fast. Ride the wave if it's flowing. Stay loose, be able to pivot. Have a wide variety of merchandise in your niche to be able to sustain when other items aren't moving. Now, when I say in your niche, I'm not saying get every single thing that you can possibly sell and put it in your booth. You don't want to have a giant hodgepodge of items in your booth. My booth specifically is items from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. We have some collectible items from the 60s that are just rad in general, so we'll break the rule a little bit for that. But for the most part, it's stuff that existed in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So I try to stay, when I'm looking for CDs, I try to stay within those decades. When I look for movies, I try to stay within those decades. Video games pretty much stay within those decades anyway. But for the most, and anything else, dolls, action figures, and the like. But have a wide variety. Like I said, I have video games, DVDs, CDs, dolls, action figures. I have coffee mugs. Sometimes one day the coffee mug will sell, and one day my Yu-Gi-Oh cards will sell, and then one day my Power Ranger will sell. So having a wide variety of different items really helps you with that within your niche. Befriend the sales staff. Get to know the people who work in your mall because they're going to be there. They're going to be there all the time. They're going to be able to help you whenever you're not there. You can call up to your booth, call up to your mall, and you might be able to see if an item is in your booth or if someone inquiring about something that you have posted to Marketplace, trying to get people's attention to go to the booth, which is a good strategy. Let me just shoehorn that in there. If you're trying to get people to come to your booth, post your booth items on Facebook Marketplace. That will give people free attention to come look at your booth items and know what you have for sale, know about what your prices are, and get them excited about wanting to come by your booth. But let's go back to it. Get to know your staff. Be friends with them. Talk to them. Be kind to them because they are the people who are taking care of your items on a daily basis. Don't just brush them off as employees of the mall. These are your friends. They're going to be there for you. They have good insights too. If you are not sure about what to do, many of these people are booth owners themselves, and they have knowledge that they can pass down. You're going to make very little money for the amount of time that you actually put in at first, but keep going. This is a long game. You're not going to instantly become a millionaire because you're starting to sell things that you found at Goodwill and garage sales. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I want to stress that. This is not a get-rich-quick type of job. This is a job that you must put in the hours, and you must put in the time, and you must put in a lot of different hats in order to make it happen. So make sure that you really want to do this before you get into the booth business. Have a place to store your back stock. It's important to have a place to keep the stuff that you don't have in your booth. It might turn into a hoarder situation at your home if you don't have it properly organized, and you won't know necessarily what items are where. You need to have a good, solid, organized place. A shelf at your house that stores just the items for your booth, or a storage facility. If you can afford to have a separate storage facility, then get a storage facility to house the items that you rotate in and out of your booth. Now, storage facility is down the line for me. I don't have enough stock for that. Right now, I can sustain with a small little storage area in my garage, and that's just fine with me. Start small, don't push yourself too far. Plan for the future while staying grounded in the present. Sourcing is a year-round job. Right now, I'm recording this in March. Well, Halloween is months away, and so is Christmas. Right now, I am currently sourcing for those 2 months. Those 2 months are big shopping months for people and the holidays. People are looking for Halloween and horror-related items in October, and they're looking for Christmas items in Christmas. So if you can find those items year-round, that's when you're going to get the good deals on them. That's when you're going to be able to stock up to make your booth a themed booth for those months and bring in a little extra cash, because that's what they're looking for. One of the biggest things that I have been able to use, and this goes back to technology that is growing, is Google Lens. If you don't already use Google Lens to do your sourcing or in general, get Google Lens, because it's going to help you identify what things are. It's going to help you identify what things go for. And it's going to help you just make sure that the item that you're picking up is a collectible or not. It could just be something that's not, it may look old and it may be old and it may be cool and interesting, but it's not profitable. It's not valuable. And Google Lens can help you do that. So download Google Lens for sure. The other thing I would say is just stay positive. It's going to be depressing sometimes when you go out sourcing and you come home with nothing or very little. It's going to be depressing when you show up at your booth and you find out that nothing has sold over the weekend or over the week. It's going to be a little depressing when you look at your sales numbers and you see that you are, in fact, in the red and you didn't make a profit this month. But stay positive, keep going, and know that this business fluctuates, and it's about putting in the work. It's about being attentive, and it's about knowing what you're doing and staying organized. Disorganized booth owners are going to fail. Organized booth owners are going to find their way through. I know, just based on the organization, it is the amount of stock that has come through my booth and the inventory that I already have so far is in the hundreds of items. If I had not organized and I had not planned and I had not scheduled and I had not put in the time that is on the back end, the unfun stuff, then I would be totally lost in this first month. I would have no idea what I was making. I would have a printout of what items sold, because my mall does that, and I would have a total of the items I sold, but I wouldn't have the things like how much I spent on those items, or how much time, how many miles I drove to even get those items. These are all things that you need to pay attention to and make sure that you are absolutely 100% into before joining this business. I'm sure that there's more that my brain cannot comprehend right now. It has been a whirlwind of a first month being opened. I've been doing this since about December of 2024. That's when I started sourcing. That's when I started deciding when I was going to get a booth. And the last week of January was my first live week. Somebody had moved out early, so I was able to move my booth in early. And we immediately started seeing sales, which was exciting. That progressed into the next month, where we had a pretty solid month of sales, yet I had spent too much to make a profit for that month. Hopefully this month things are on track to make a profit, But at the same time, I need to also pay attention to the fact that I might not make enough money this month to cover my next round of sourcing. And so I'll stay back in the red, and I'll have to probably fall back in the red a few more times before I'm really rolling on a profitable scale. This is just my perspective. This is just what I'm looking at right now. I'm trying to be realistic and not expect that for some reason I'm just going to skyrocket into the stratosphere. I hope that some of the things I talked about today helped you out, and that while listening to me, you might have seen something in the video that might have perked your attention and you might want to get out to Family Treasures Antique Mall. If so, I highly recommend it. Family Treasures Antique Mall, 412 North Main in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I'm booth 1922 on aisle 2A. Stay excellent.